This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And if you're planning a trip for the coming year, maybe you're looking forward already to 2009 and planning out your trips, why not have the good folks at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel help plan your trip for you, help you figure out how to make your next trip to Walt Disney World that much better and that much easier on yourself. Why not give them a try? Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
Wednesday, November 19th, 2008, and this is episode 490 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudiosCentral.com. On today's show, I'm joined by Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hiya, Mike.
Howdy ho, Matt.
Thanks, Mike Len Testa Newell. and the man that he ripped it off from, Len Testa, co-author of the Initial Guide to Walt Disney World, is here. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding.
Excellent.
And joining us also is Mike Scopa, a blogger at allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
And I'm beginning Evasive Maneuvers.
Star Tours.
Yep. Mission Space.
Yeah, whatever.
Same idea. Well, on today's show, it's Wednesday. That means we're answering your listener questions. So let's start out with a question from Abby, who writes, it's Abby from West Hartford, Connecticut. There is a day during our trip that I have a few questions about. Here's the schedule. Trail ride, go to the Contemporary, ride the Sea Racers, have trail at Tempo, grab and go. Then me and my mom get massages and stuff like that, and my brother and my dad go golfing. My parents meet up at Victoria and Albert Chef's Table, and me and my brother go to the California Grill. My first question is, do we need to make reservations for the Sea Racers? And if so, where would I call to make those?
You probably don't need to make reservations for the Sea Racers, do you?
No, you just show up over there. You go to any of the resorts that have Sea Racers, which are any of the resorts on Bay Lake or the Sassagoula River. You just go over there there's like a little shack booth thing, if you want to call it
that. A shanty, you know.
And you just rent them.
For men are cooking pots of stone crabs on open hearth fires.
Exactly. It's pretty easy. I've done it a couple times. I don't even know if they even take reservations, to be honest with you, but you definitely don't need. You can just go right up there and rent them. And basically how it works is there's a rate per, I think, half hour or hour, but you don't sign up for, say, an hour. You just take it out, and when you come back, they assess how long you took, and they charge you accordingly. So if you only take it out for 30 minutes, that's okay. And if you want to go a little bit longer, no problem either.
If you want to, but from previous experience, let me just tell you right now, you can't take them to Cuba.
Try as you may, it just won't work. Abby adds, second question is, if we're staying at a resort other than the Contemporary, will we be able to use the fitness center at the Contemporary?
You could, but you'd probably get charged a fee.
I did that one time. There was a fee that you could pay as long as you were a guest at another resort. You were allowed to do that. I went over there. I actually paid $35 for the family to use the fitness center for the length of the stay. So that was $35, and that was about 10, 12 years ago. That was pretty good.
Well, Mike Newell knows how to do it for free.
Oh, Lord.
Just don't work out.
No, that's not. All right.
Here's cheaper.
Mary Newell knows how to do it for free.
Yeah.
Well, we use the DVC gyms, so she just goes over to because the gym at Old Key West is horrible, so she goes over to Saratoga and uses that gym.
That's right. Okay, so if DVC members can use other gyms,
right? And I think there's a really nice gym at the Boardwalk, and there's also one at Coronado, I think.
There you go. Abby's final question is: are there showers in the fitness center?
Yeah.
Yes, there are. And I second Mike's statement about Coronado. They have a really nice gym.
Very good. One last question, actually, from Abby, who writes, if we're driving our own car from the Animal Kingdom Lodge to Fort Wilderness, how would we get to the Tri-Circle de Lavery Ranch?
You're going to park and take the internal transportation, would you not?
Yeah, if you're driving, you're going to park at Fort Wilderness's parking lot, and then you have to take the internal transportation. The thing is, when you're taking the bus, and this is for anyone really, if you want to get to Hoop-de-Doo or Trails End, and if you want to park your car at Fort Wilderness, there's 3 bus routes. It doesn't matter which bus you take. Just take the first one that gets there because they all end up at the same place, and that'll bring you right over there. Next email is from Steve, who writes, on show 483, one of you Disney super nerds quickly mentioned free refills at a restaurant. I think it was somewhere in Epcot. Can you tell us where in the world they give free refills and where we have to pay for them?
Electric Umbrella has free refills because the soda dispensers are outside of the outside of the area where you pay.
Right.
That's
Also-
in. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think we were actually talking in that episode about
Sunshine Seasons.
Sunshine Seasons. Yeah. Mike Newell alerted me to this one also.
Well, that's
But
my.
that's not outside the
I know, but
the area. Really? They'll let you do it?
yeah, Newell.
Well-
yeah, it was one time I was eating over there, and I kind of openly remarked, I wish I had a refill on this drink because these pretzels are making me thirsty. and and Newell said you can go get it. And of course, Newell always likes to try to get me in trouble, and I told him, yeah, okay. He goes, no, you really can, and
Well,
it's true.
I don't know if it's open policy. My policy is
Okay, now he tells me this.
no. But here, wait. My policy is if you hand,
Almost certainly, probably might not have got arrested for that.
this is
Relatively speaking.
this is my policy. If I have to fill my own soda, then I get free refills. If you're filling it up for me behind the counter, then it's off limits. But if I have to do it
So
myself,
you've got your own sort of
it's a policy.
ethical area. Okay, that's fair enough. That's fine.
Are there any other restaurants? Obviously the buffets and everything like that, you get the drinks included in there. Are there any other counter service places that you can think of that offer you free refills on beverages?
Anywhere where you get your own drink, will
That's
enough.
my
the short
policy.
answer. Yeah.
All things pop.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So all
Yeah.
the food courts at the
All
food. Yeah, right. The food courts at the. Actually, every food court, right?
Really?
Steve adds, as someone who's always thirsty, I tend to drink a lot at meals, so I like to know up front if the refills are free or not. If they're not, then I just order water because I refuse to pay an extra $10 on my check for 3 or 4 refills. And while we're on the topic of beverages, are beer and mixed drink prices the same throughout the world? If not, then what's the best place to score a cheap beer both in and out of the parks, but on property?
Well, that's a good question. That's a real good question.
Yeah, most prices hover around the same things. In Epcot, some beers are cheaper than others, like in World Showcase, like you go to different countries. But generally speaking, just beer alone, you're going to expect to pay what, $5 or $6 a beer?
I paid about $6 for a Sam's in January at the Bellevue Lounge, but I don't know how much that would have been if I had bought the same beer at, let's say, Polynesian.
So if I recall correctly, I think the beer prices are roughly the same, like around $6 or so, at all of the parks. I think Epcot might be slightly more in World Showcase, but the price of bottled beer in the food courts varies by about $1. And if I understand correctly, the DVC resorts have cheaper beer.
Well, it's
'Cause we actually looked at this pricing. So I think the DVC is on a 6-pack. It's about $1 cheaper. Domestics. I could be wrong.
Now, mixed drinks, it can vary, certainly, and I think it also varies on where you are. I remember that I went to Rick's Lounge at Coronado Springs, and those mixed drinks were very expensive, albeit they were also much larger than some of the drinks that I had been used
Those
to.
people are on expense vouchers. That's why.
Yeah. It can definitely vary, but some basic drinks are usually about the same throughout. It depends when you get to those kind of weirdo drinks. But Disney's really, what they have now is I think really out of every place you can get an adult beverage, they have those little books, you know what I'm talking about? The ones that are that dark, they're either black or very dark blue, and they have all the drinks in there, and you can flip through them and see what, fruity drinks you're interested in getting. And those are pretty standard throughout the resort. Throughout the property, rather. Whether you go in a park or you're in a bar at one of the resorts, I found them throughout there, and I suspect that the prices are also consistent, considering it's the same menu everywhere you go. Steve adds, I don't have any trips planned, so no pressure to answer before 2010 rolls around.
Nice.
Next email is from Ellie Argoluza, who writes, Hi, podcast crew. I'm a little confused about the taping of the Christmas parade. I understand that the taping takes place at the Magic Kingdom. I looked at the unofficial guide, crowd calendar, and just saw the day the parade is scheduled has a crowd of 4. Is this just because everyone is on Main Street and there will be no one in lines for rides? Or is it because, gasp, the unofficial guide did not know the exact date of the taping? Love your show. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, what do you think it is?
Yeah, Len's just making up as he goes.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Everyone always thinks that the parade draws great crowds, and it does, but just to Main Street. And the reason for that is that they actually keep people penned off like cows or pigs on Main Street to, so that people don't wander in and out of the shots, and that they keep their supply of extras handy. Once you get past Main Street, and Main Street's definitely crowded. Once you get past Main Street, though, it's a pretty typical day in the Magic Kingdom. And I've heard people say that, oh, well, they let people in for free for the parade, and that's just going to make crowds bigger. And they do let people in for free, but typically the taping isn't done until after 4 or 5 p.m. And by then, everyone's just exhausted. They want to go home. It's very few people do it for the free admission because you're going to stand around for 10 hours and do nothing and try and look cheerful for Regis and Kelly, and that's it. So other than that, it's a pretty typical day.
Yeah, I would really advise against people really doing it because I know a lot of people always get excited, to be in the parade and you get free park admission. Yeah.
So what? It's not worth it.
It's so not worth it. Len and I went by, I think the first a couple of years ago now, and it's just you're just huddled in pens and you're there. You're at will of Disney. They'll hold you for as long as they need you for, and more often than not, that's going to be for most of the day. So
yeah, exactly.
It's not worth it if you ask me. Next email is from Darnell Anthony of Wausau, Wisconsin. I definitely mispronounced that. Who writes, I have been a recent listener and love the show. My husband, a computer geek, loves you also because it was your show that made me interested in the iPod he gave me a year ago. My family's going to the world soon with my father-in-law. My father-in-law is paying for the trip and wants to go whole hog. So he purchased the Platinum package with wine and dine through AAA. We're staying at Animal Kingdom and trying to get concierge level. My job is to plan and make reservations for activities and dining. He's paying and we're all excited to go. I am having trouble finding what exactly is included. All EarsNet, the unofficial guide, official Walt Disney World website, and phone service and our travel agent all seem to not answer this question as much more.
So the Platinum, it's the Platinum package that they got, right?
Yeah. She adds, I know you don't recommend this package, but hey, we're not paying for it. We're supposed to get the pre-trip planning. Disney Info couldn't give me much more than the phone number to do this. I know you will most likely answer this after our trip, but other listeners may be in the same boat.
So in terms of if you get the Platinum plan, it's around $199 a day in 2009 for adults, $134 a day for kids. You get 3 meals, any combination of counter service and table service you want. It includes appetizers at all the table service restaurants. Salads count as appetizers. You get refillable mugs. You get unlimited use of recreational amenities like bicycle renters, marina use, miniature golf, horseback riding. You get admission to Cirque du Soleil. You get private golf lessons. You get preferred fireworks viewing locations for wishes and illuminations. Unlimited admission to all the Disney theme park tours. A 5x7 photo pass tour. $15 certificate for food and non-alcoholic beverages at Planet Hollywood. Preferred sitting at Fantasmic. 1 selected spa treatment per adult. 1 fireworks cruise per room, and private in-room child care. And if you can use all of that, that's amazing.
Wow, I call that the Len Testa plan. Wow, that's quite a plan. Thanks for that answer. And Darnell also wants to know, we land at 10:30 the night that we land and fly out in the afternoon when we leave. I did this so that we could have the entire day to tour the parks before we have to leave. By flying out in the afternoon, we could get home with enough time to have a calming down day on Sunday at home before we return to work and school. My husband and I are teachers and have an 11-year-old son with ADHD and anxiety disorder and a daughter with severe asthma. I thought the downtime before returning to school was essential.
Yep.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, a lot of time. For me, I always went. I took that last flight out on Sunday, got home late. Turn around and go out to work or on Monday. But for me, I value that time in order to do it. But certainly when you get to go home, I know Newell, you always take that early morning flight home.
I used to. Now I take the last flight out.
Oh, no, okay, never mind that.
Yeah.
Scopey, you take the early morning flight home.
Yeah, I like it because there's less of a hassle at MCO when you're checking in, and I can usually get home by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and that gives me the rest of the day to wind down, and that can be used instead of taking the next day off. Yeah, you could take a late afternoon or an evening flight and then take the next day off. Or you can take an early flight and then use the rest of your travel day to unwind so that you can go right back to your business the next day.
That's an idea.
All right, there you go. Next email is from Sean Neva. Where I tell you guys, it's been a while since I've emailed, probably because I've just been sitting back and enjoying the shows, especially when the lovely lady Annette is on with you guys. It seems that there may be a trip in the near future for us, so I have a question for you guys. We're probably going to wait till Disney does the free dining again in 2009. And my question was this. Since our son will have turned 3 in June, will he get a children's dining plan as well, or will we have to purchase one for him? Come to think of it, not even sure Disney has a children's plan. Your help on this would be great, and you have plenty of time to answer it before we book.
Yeah, children aged 3 to 9, right?
Yep. There definitely is a child's plan, and it's a few dollars cheaper than the adult plan, and you can definitely get that. Yep. Sean adds, also, I have to tell you, the last trip we ate at the Coral Reef against all warnings from you guys, and boy, I wish I listened to you. It took at least 3 hours, I believe. We had an ADR for 6 o'clock, but didn't get seated until 6:30 or so. Then it was at least a 45 to 50-minute wait for the food. Thank God it was on the dining plan, because when I was at the bill, it was for like $120 or something. I almost fell out of my chair. Wow. Worse than that was our 2-year-old, and he was fighting about everything on the table and hurling crayons in the air. At one point, I almost asked if there was a door to the tank I could access to either hurl him in for a bit or a quick exit for me. Never again. Thanks again, guys. And lady, can't forget that. Thanks for everything you do.
Wow.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Don't go to Coral Reef.
That's funny because we'd heard some comments that last year? Yeah, last year, that it was getting better. So I guess not. Oh, well.
I guess not. Next email is from Jennifer Saylor, who writes, hey, guys, love the show. I have a question regarding a recent show. I heard there is a stand in the Magic Kingdom that sells fresh caramel popcorn. I've been to the world a number of times and never come across the place. This is my favorite snack, caramel popcorn. Can you please tell me where the stand is in the Magic Kingdom and if there's anywhere else on property they sell it? I visit the Jersey Shore often and have to get a bucket every time. Has anyone tasted the caramel popcorn in Disney? Is it good? Keep up the good work. Your podcast gets me through a long day in the office every Monday. I know of one in the studios. You guys know of one? Which one she's talking about in the Magic Kingdom?
It's not Sleepy Hollow, is it?
I have no idea.
I thought it was.
Okay.
I know they
well,
sell
I know the one. I don't know
bag.
about this other one, Jennifer. But at the studios, they have one of the dip site, which is a little cart stand thing right next to Indiana Jones. The problem with it sounds like good. I mean, caramel popcorn sounds good. The problem is it's bagged popcorn. It was either made a long time ago or I don't know when. But it's not fresh by any means. It's not like they make it like in a vat and like ooh, it's popping fresh and it's caramel and it tastes good. It tastes like kind of caramel popcorn you probably get at the supermarket if you ask me. I wasn't impressed with it. And I wouldn't waste my money on it. But I don't know about the Magic Kingdom.
I'm told that Sleepy Hollow does have caramel corn.
Okay, so there you go.
That's true. That's $3.99.
Oh, there you go.
I actually remember watching them make it because they'll make it in front of you in a big stainless steel bowl. So they'll take out the popcorn with a big wooden spatula and actually make it with the caramel in it in front of you in one of the windows. Yeah, and then so it's really good on a cold day when the smell kind of wafts over to you, but when it's really really hot and sticky and you feel the smell of the caramel, you're like, I can't take it.
Next email's from Patrick and Lydia and Adam. Right, dear Mike, I'm still in the bushes Newell. Len, I'm still sober Testa. Mike, I'm still alive Scopa.
So much for that.
And Matt, I'm still whipped Hotchberg. Several people have written emails.
One out of 4 isn't bad.
Yeah, anyway.
Several people have written emails about your 4-park escapade. I commend you on your endurance and willingness to go to the mat for your listeners. What about a 4-park touring strategy that packs in the maximum number of attractions rather than focusing on the headliner ones? Instead of mountaineering in the Magic Kingdom, you might choose Pirates, Buzz Lightyear, the Jungle Cruise, etc. I'd be interested to know how many attractions you could fit into the day across all 4 parks. Consider it sort of the ultimate 4-park touring plan.
Yeah, so we actually talked about doing this the next time we do that is to, instead of do headliners, try and I think we did 4 attractions per park last time. I think we're going to try and do 6 or 7 next time, right?
Yeah, Newell look forward to watching Sounds Dangerous, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, and Flights of Wonder.
Exactly.
The thing is that if we do that, we're going to have to look at. You're absolutely right, Matt. We'll be looking at the not so popular attractions to add on to those.
We can do better. We can do more.
All right, we'll see. Mm-hmm. Next email is from Carol of Parker, Colorado. All right, hello, Matt.
Carol Parker of Colorado.
Len. Yeah, there you go. I have a question about Magical Express. We're going to the world in October in a year that's to come. I'll be flying in Orlando from Colorado, but my daughter will be coming from Phoenix. If I sign up for Magical Express, can we both use the service even if we don't come in at the same time? My flight gets in about 3 hours before hers, and I'd rather not wait for her in the airport. Of course, I will if we can't use it separately.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. I've done it plenty of times with me and my wife before we lived in the same place. I'd come from Connecticut, she'd come from Georgia, and we'd always do it all it worked perfectly. You just have to tell them the information, give them the pertinent information, and it'll be fine. So, will not be a problem for you, Carol. Next email is from Dave Wetley, who writes, "Hello, WDW Today team. Now that my oldest is in college, it looks like we'll be forced to visit Walt Disney World during the dreaded summer months. We're not too concerned with the crowds, but are very concerned with the heat and humidity. Being from Southern California, where summers are usually dry, we are worried about the humid weather will just make the trip too miserable. I've heard people recommend we go to the parks at rope drop and leave around noon to avoid the hottest part of the day. However, we always suffer from jet lag, and it's very hard for me to get my family out of bed before 10 a.m. So I was thinking, why not let this work to our advantage and create an evening-only touring plan? Here's my idea. Wake up at 10 a.m., eat breakfast in the villa, we're DVC members, go to the resort pool at about 11, spend a few hours swimming, then schedule a late lunch, early dinner for about 4 at a table service restaurant. Then head to the park around 5:30 or 6 and stay until closing. Then the next day, start the same cycle all over again. With this plan, we would either be sleeping, swimming, or eating in air conditioning during the hottest parts of the day and then experiencing the parks in the evening. I would like to get your advice on this plan. Will the parks be crowded at night? Is it still pretty hot at 6 p.m. when we'll be arriving at the parks? Keep in mind, we do not tour the parks Mando style, so we do not feel the need to be there all day. I also realize that this plan, we would probably have to forego Animal Kingdom since it closes relatively early. I see a couple problems with the plan, and I'll give you my thoughts, and Len, I think you can give your thoughts on this. I think, first of all, it's going to be nearly impossible to see the most popular attractions like Soarin', Toy Story, Midway Mania, all these headliner attractions because Fast Passes will be gone by the time you get over there.
Exactly.
And so you're going to have to suffer on the line, whatever it may be. Second, in the summertime, the sun stays out pretty darn long. I mean, we're talking to 8 o'clock at night. It's still kind of light out, which means it's very hot out, still at 6 o'clock p.m. Now, is it better or worse than 1 o'clock? Obviously, it's better than 1 o'clock, but it's not going to you're going to go into, cool 70-degree weather by any stretch of the imagination. And third, you're giving up on the best part of the day, which is the early morning, that first couple hours, even if 2 hours in the park. I mean, that's the best time of the day to be in the parks because it's the least crowded of the whole day. And I think, Len, you said it on many shows, which is that it's far easier to stay up late than wake up early.
Exactly.
But
and
Len,
that's what I think is the is the key to all of that is to get up early. And if you can't do it, I mean, I guess you could take advantage of the evening extra magic hours. But man, I mean, the thing with that is that it takes an hour and a half roughly for people to get out of the parks then.
Yeah.
So you're really staying up late every day, which I guess if you could do it. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to understand that you're going to be kind of limited in terms of what you're going to want to see. I mean, for people who want to, quote, do it all or do a lot of it, it's going to be very difficult for you to do that. I think you're going to run into that problem. I mean, it's fine for first maybe day or two if you want to, get accustomed to the time difference. But I think you're going to, overall, I don't think you're going to be satisfied in terms of what you get accomplished. Just my opinion, though. Next email is from Disney Mom 3, who writes, "Hi all, I'm a relatively new listener since February, and was wondering if you could explain on your last live show, which was number 24, why one needed to carry cash for tips for the Disney dining plan. Did I misunderstand the caller who asked about tips and ATMs? I would never carry cash for tips. Seems kind of silly. We're headed to Walt Disney World soon, and we'll take advantage of free dining. I was planning on using resort expense cards or my own Visa card for all the dining expenses, including tips. Now I'm wondering if the restaurants only accept cash for tips. Can you please clarify this? So far, I've enjoyed the show and do appreciate your helpful travel advice and information." I think what we meant by cash was that you have to pay out of pocket. And they do take credit cards and room charge cards for all that kind of stuff. But when you're using the dining plan, be it free or pay for it, you give them your card. They deduct the stuff that's on the dining plan. Anything left over, like gratuity, like appetizers, drinks, whatever, you pay out of pocket. So that's what I meant by cash. Next email is from Christy Flaherty calling of Omaha, Nebraska. Writes, "Hello. Because of the marked enthusiasm of some of your team when discussing Dole Whips, my husband and I determined to have one during our once-in-a-lifetime grand trip to Walt Disney World. Well, we finally learned why you folks get so worked up about the whole Disney magic thing and Dole Whips. There may be a purist argument that a Dole Whip can't taste as good outside of the park as it does within, but I went searching for the web for a recipe, thinking I could tweak it until I was close enough to tide us over until our April trip. I found a video that shows how to make a Dole Whip, including the URL of a Hawaiian supplier of the Dole Whip mix that gets poured into the Dole Whip machines. My order is going in tonight. Since you guys are also web savvy, I'm sure you've already seen this video or know how to obtain the magical elixir, but just in case, I thought I'd pass the URL along. Regardless of the usefulness of this message, please know that a couple will be tipped in your honor next April when we return to Orlando." Well, am I correct that you've tried to make it at home one time?
Yeah, we found this website many years ago, and I ordered it, and I put it into one of those frozen machines that you buy at Target, and after a couple of tries, I think I got the hang of it. It's pretty good.
Okay, that's good.
It's just a lot of work. I mean, if you make a mistake, it's very sticky, and you got to do it. Let's put it this way: I haven't done it since.
I know there are a couple places, like when I was in Connecticut, there's a place or two that have it. They actually do have Dole Whip there, so I mean there are places you can find it, but I think for that, save it for the parks. Make it that special thing that you have in Disney World.
Exactly.
Next email is from Kat from Dublin, Ireland.
Oh,
that's my Irish accent.
Yeah, it's very bad.
Writes, hi guys, I have a paragraph written that was bigger than my actual question for all of you guys, but I'll just sum it up by saying hooray for all of you. I'm terribly indecisive about what to do. Myself and my boyfriend booked everything before realizing that planning that goes along with Disney vacation. Luckily, everything kind of fell into place except for our last night. I booked a table for Narcoossee's for 6:30 p.m. Friday of our trip. I thought it would be a great choice so we could see the Wishes from the beach after dinner. But I didn't know was that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party is on the same night. So am I correct in saying that Wishes will not be happening on that night? Will there be any fireworks in the Magic Kingdom that night? So now I'm at a loss for what to do. We could grab the monorail to Epcot for Illuminations, but I want to be able to enjoy our meal. Should I try switching my original plan to a night when Wishes will be taking place, or will everything be booked up? Can you see Illuminations from any other resorts in a similar fashion to seeing Wishes from the Grand Floridian? What should I do with my last night in Disney World? Any advice would be very valued. Scuba?
It doesn't make a difference. Wishes will be shown that night. It might be shown at a different time. If it's during the party, I believe it's shown at a funny time like 9:15 or 9:30. But it
won't be regular Wishes.
It won't be regular. Well, it won't be regular Wishes, right?
Right. They'll be showing Hollow Wishes. So if Kat wants to see regular Wishes, you have to change it to another night. You have no choice in the matter. What would you do, Mike, in this case? Let's assume for a second you wanted to see regular Wishes, and given the schedule, what would you do?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I guess I just try to book on a night that I would be there for regular Wishes. I mean, I think I'd probably try. I mean, you actually have 3 restaurants that you could go for. You could go for California Grill, you could go for Ohana's, or you could go for Narcoossee's, really. I think those 3. So you have 3 opportunities. You have so many nights that you would be able to see the regular Wishes. So I just try that.
Yeah, I think switching your plan might be the best option for that.
Yeah.
I have to agree with that. Next email is from Doug. Writes, guys, I've heard some negative comments about eating locations by a couple of you, namely T-Rex and Casey's. You kind of explained the Casey conundrum. What's up with your hints as to the issues with the yet to come to, well, it's open, but T-Rex restaurant? Help me out there, guys and gals. I'm considering trying to perhaps get a reservation unless you convince me otherwise. P.S. Len rocks. You guys are pretty good too.
Signed, Len's mom.
I'll give you my thoughts on the place. I have a big problem with T-Rex. A couple of reasons. One, it's owned by the Rainforest Cafe people, which means the place is very loud, slow service, overpriced food. The food isn't that great. I call it mediocre at best.
Sounds like every restaurant in Walt Disney World.
No.
Overpriced, loud.
Well, no, this is even worse than anything like that. I mean, you're talking $30 for an entree that isn't coming to you, on a gold plate. I mean, this is just regular food that you're overpaying for it. You're going to get slow service. It's not going to be that great food. And this goes true for Rainforest Cafe, and obviously for T-Rex Cafe, T-Rex, which is owned by the same 2 companies. And of course, if you want the food and you really want to do it, go to your own mall somewhere near home. You save your money and go eat over there, because you can get the same experience over there. There's no reason to waste your time at Walt Disney World going there. And it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. Why? And so far, a lot of the reviews that have come in about T-Rex are right up that alley. That it is exactly that: overpriced, loud, not worth your time. Skip it. My opinion on it. Do any of you disagree?
I'll let you know.
Yeah, I haven't had it yet.
Oh, I'm not even going to bother with it. I don't need to. I'm not wasting my time. But again, just my opinion on it. So, Doug, if you want to try for it. But I think it's a futile effort.
Even if you got a free meal, you could turn it down?
I would turn it down there on principle.
You want to go?
I want Disney restaurants at Disney World, not, glorified McDonald's.
Hear, hear.
Next email is from Julie, who writes, You don't need to read this on the air if you don't want to, but I want to take your time to thank you. I just finished listening to one of your past shows and was blown away that I had to write. The show was an interview with the cast member Timmy, who does the animation demonstrations. I loved this interview. Thanks for taking the time to interview him and give him the opportunity to share all of your touching stories with our listeners. One of the reasons why I love Disneyland, my home park, is that it does act, quote, as a backdrop to such amazing kindness and life-changing events. And for something completely different. Does the Walt Disney World have baby centers at the parks? There's a baby center off of Main Street in Disneyland that is awesome. They have high chairs for you to feed your baby, small chairs and tables, extra diapers, baby food, small toilets for kids, a dark room with rocking chairs, and a bunch of other helpful things. I haven't heard anyone talk about this yet. I know they have one at the studios at Guest Relations, or it's near Guest Relations. I've seen it once or twice. They have a little kids center over there. I always see when I go in there to Guest Relations to complain about something. I usually see a little. It's off to the side over there, and there's little kids watching TV, and there's baby center that you can't really see from over there. Are you guys familiar with any of the ones in the other parks?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I know. I'm asking Newell, who hates kids, and Scopa, who
I don't hate
also
kids.
Oh, well.
Hates kids.
I just don't have any.
That's true.
Matt will probably be the best person next year at this time when he's expecting,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
more
okay.
in tune with all this.
Anyway, they have one at the studios. I imagine they have one at the other parks as well, and the odds are they're probably close to Guest Relations. So, yes, Julie, they exist. Time for the last email of the day, and of course that means that Mike Newell will be picking it. Mike, here are your options. Please learn your resort locations.
Ooh.
Those darn old people. From Picos to ...
I like please learn your resort locations. That sounds like a challenge.
Okay. This email's from Yo Polly from the Jersey Shore. Who writes, hello,
Polly.
Matt, Mike, Len, and the most honest times co-host for a Discast, Annette. This is Yo Polly from the WDW Today comments board, StudioCentral.com forums, seemingly every other Disney fan podcast forum known to man. I'm the one who did the photoshopped Everybody Loves Mongella pic at last year's Mega Mouse Meet. Love the show and the show topics and the rapport you all share. The Snack, Sip, and Sick episode is in my permanent iTunes collection, a true turning point in podcasting history, listening to the very moment a man turns to the sweet surrender of bulimia in an effort to escape his pain. Anyway, I have a long-standing gripe that I simply had to write in about. I'm a loyal listener since about early 2006 and also caught all the back episodes. From the start, it seems that Mr. You Must Be This Old to Enter the Park Scopa and the aforementioned Long Fingers Len simply refuses to learn the difference between the Dolphin and the Swan hotels. Even in the good book, pages 162 and 376, the maps are mislabeled. The Dolphin has a triangular-shaped main building, and the Swan has the arching top of the building. The Swan is to the west of the boardwalk and south of the Dolphin, which is to the west of the Yacht Club. And whenever Scopa answers the Swan is closer to Epcot, it simply isn't the case. You have to walk around the large crescent of the boardwalk at the boardwalk, whereas the Dolphin, it's a relatively straight shot across the International Gateway with a slight detour around the pier at the Yacht Club.
Yeah, how about that?
What say you, Mr. Scopa?
Comment?
I
Comment?
disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree. It depends upon how you go.
You disagree about geography? It's like saying you disagree about math.
He still thinks, well, Len, let's give him credit. He still thinks the world is flat.
Well, if you come out of the Dolphin,
You should be on the View.
And instead of walking down that long path to where the Swan is, if you take a left and you head down towards Stormalong Bay, yes. But if you go to where the that long path is to where the Dolphin, to where the Swan opening is, and then you go over that bridge, I think that the Swan is closer. But if you come out of the Dolphin Hotel and you take that quick left and you go like along that little path that's close to the, it probably is. But how many people know where that path is?
All right. Well, there you go. You have it.
I'm just willing to admit I'm wrong. Okay, whatever.
Well, let's remember that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And the great thing about MEI and Mouse Fan Travel is they know exactly where every single resort is on property. They have it all memorized. They spend many hours just spouting out locations, in a quiz game before they can even actually talk to any clients. Ask them all about it.
That's how they warm up before the start every day.
Yeah, ask Colleen. She'll tell you all about it. Anyway, if you want to have all those kind of great trained travel agents at your disposal, give them a call. Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. For Line Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.